Okay, let's start things off with Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports, followed by Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. Kellen?
Hey, Coach. It's been just over a week for you guys now practicing. How would you say you guys are ramping up and how you feel prepared for the team getting into scrimmages and live basketball?
I mean, it's hard to say. I think all of us, all of the coaches will say that guys look good, all of that stuff. But it's hard to say where you are until you start playing games against competition outside of your gym. And so, you know, we've competed, but that's who we are. And so I'm not going to pat us on the back for competing. Like that's who we are. And so from that standpoint, I like where we are, but I'm anxious to see us against other competition. And the energy in the gym has been really good. We've had a couple days where the soreness has, kind of set in a bit, and guys got the juice going and brought our level up to Suns basketball level, and that's been good. But for me, I'm anxious to see us against competition outside of our gym and, progress the program as it relates to being in this bubble and throwing a bunch of stuff at our guys for a week and seeing how we respond to another team trying to take us out.
Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. Your question. Cody Cunningham, you are next.
Thanks, DC. Monty, obviously, we know how important Ricky and Aaron was to this team, being veterans. How have they looked in practice in Orlando?
All of our guys have looked about the same. I mean, some guys sharper than others. All of our guys have dealt with the excitement of being back on the floor, then soreness has set in, and it's just one of those deals where you see the same thing from every guy. When you take this amount of time off, you typically see the same thing. And so all of our guys across the board have looked the same in that regard.
Cody Cunningham, you are next, followed by Dave King, Bright Side of the Sun. Go ahead, Cody.
Hey, Coach, just as you're in Orlando, how important is it for you and your players to continue messaging around social injustice? Just, through speech, through the movies you showed the other night, and the opportunity to put messaging on the back of jerseys. Just how important is that to you?
I think it's one of the most important things I've done in my coaching. Outside of the personal relationships that I've been blessed to be a part of, this is probably right there as far as the most important things that I've been a part of. When I look at the history of our country, when I look at the history of my family, when I look at where we are and where we need to go, the platform that we have to talk about the ills and wrongs of our society are of utmost importance. And to be able to, watch movies and talk about not just African-American history, but Croatian history, Serbian history, how the slaves got to the Bahamas and other islands in the Caribbean. All of that is important. And, knowledge to me in these situations is key. As I've said to the guys, knowledge takes away the assumptions. And we have to be careful of the things that we say because we want to, progress and edify and not break down. And sometimes when you speak without facts and you speak without knowledge, there's a tendency to offend needlessly and recklessly. And so we've just tried to use this time to educate ourselves, if we can educate the players and have authentic conversations in a safe place. And to me, this is one of the most important things I've ever been a part of as an African-American head coach in the NBA. I'm thankful that I'm a part of it all.
Okay, the next question comes from Dave King, Bright Side of the Sun. He's followed by Tressa Tudrick, Channel 3, Channel 5. Dave?
Hey, Coach. I've got a two-part question. The first part is a follow-on to that last. You had mentioned a month or so ago that you also think that voting, locally voting in the elections is extremely important going forward. I believe it's the Hawks and then just recently the Kings have announced that their arenas are going to be voting sites to allow the most people to vote, in person this fall with social distancing. Have you heard anything on the Suns arena once construction is done becoming available, and have you guys talked about that? And then the second part of the question is a basketball one. Mikal looked like he had bulked up a little bit too, and you talked about Cam bulking up a little bit. Do you see those guys getting more and more comfortable in the power forward, stretch four kind of role coming in their careers? I know your two bigs are interchangeable in a lot of your sets, but really being able to stretch the floor and hit that three is vitally important in this game. So both parts of those.
Yeah. Well, the first part, as it relates to voting at our place, we have not to my knowledge, had those discussions, and a lot of it is just because of the construction that's going on downtown. I'm hopeful that we can provide, even if it's not at Talking Stick, maybe at the Madhouse, where we can provide opportunities for people to vote. This is one of the most important voting seasons in our history as a country, when you think about where we are. And so I think it's important that we do have those discussions. We may not be able to just based on logistics, but I'm hopeful that we can have those kinds of discussions to see what we can provide. We are a bit of a lighthouse in the community, the Suns are, and to be able to provide efficient ways to vote is something that many NBA teams are a part of. And so I'm hopeful. And we may have talked about it, and I just don't know about it because I've been so focused on a lot of things, but that one I have not. So that would be on me, just because I just don't know. And as it relates to the guys playing those positions, like our stretch fours and our threes who have the potential to play, I'm more concerned with their strength as opposed to just bulking up. The last thing I want is a guy to bulk up and put on weight that slows him down. A lot of the things that we do from a concept and taking advantage of the strengths and abilities of our players is based on speed, based on mobility. And I don't want guys to, put on added weight and slow them down. And so I'm hopeful that, guys like Mikal and Cam can morph between those positions, just like I'm hopeful that Dario can morph in between the 4 and the 5. I think it gives us versatility. It gives you lineup flexibility, and having been in our system for 65 games, I think it allows those guys to, with having a break, it allows those guys to, know what they can do in multiple positions. Mikal's a guy that, he can go from 2, 3, and 4, and so I don't want him thinking about bulking up to play the 4 and take away his speed and quickness when I have to move him to the 2. So I think the strength, the mobility is where I'm most concerned.
Okay, Tressa Tudrick, Channel 3, Channel 5. You are on. Gina Mizell, stand by. Go ahead, Tressa.
Hi, Coach. Thank you for your time. Touching on the first answer to the question about being anxious and just ready to play other competition, you're about less than a week out from playing the Jazz. Do you feel that your players are feeling that kind of anxiousness and ready to play other people than themselves as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the new NBA, I mean, you have, 6 or 7 practices, and you have your first preseason game. And so we'll have, I don't know how many practices, but way more than we typically would. And so we've been beating each other up every day. The competition level is really high, and sometimes, you know, it gets a bit intense, but it's okay because I like when our guys go after each other. They make each other better. So, but I do think it kind of wears on you a little bit when you're just playing the same, you know, guy or playing the same position against the same guy or guys every day. But this is like the old NBA. I mean, we would have about 2 weeks of training camp before you played in a preseason game. And that's how it was. And so it reminds me so much of being in New York with Pat Riley and, you know, having a 4-hour practice and doing that every day for a week and a half to 2 weeks, I guess, before you even got a chance to play. So I can adapt to either one.
Gina Mizell, your question. Cameron Cox, you are up next.
Hey, Monty, now that you've gone through basically a week of practices, and I know you've been proceeding cautiously, are there elements of the game or as a team that you're like, wow, this is further ahead than I thought we would be at this point? And on the flip side of that, are there things that you're like, okay, this is not quite where I want it yet. This is what we need to focus on these next few days before those scrimmages?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always concerned with the details. Sprint and turn and transition is something that, you know, we were the #1 team in the NBA in transition defense last year. And so that's something that is a bit of a concern because you're not playing. We're going to start playing more 5-on-5 in the next few practices so we can work on that. It hasn't been bad when we've played in our scrimmages, but it's something that I don't want to let slip. I think all of the teams, if we were honest, there'd be 1 or 2 things that we feel like we need to just get better at. And a lot of it is just, you know, dealing with the conditioning. You know, when guys are thinking about being tired, they may not communicate as well. And that's probably the one thing that is not where it needs to be, is the communication, especially in pick and roll coverages. If I had to, you know, give you guys something that we need to improve on, it's just being able to communicate, whether it's a pick and roll coverage or switching or whatever it is on defense. That's something that we're going to focus on in the next few practices so that we can be ready for the first game.
Okay, final 2 questions. Cameron Cox with Channel 12, followed by Andrew Lopez, ESPN. Go ahead, Cameron.
Coach, hope everything is going well. 2 quick random questions for you. 1, have you been fishing yet? I saw some other NBA players that posted that they've tried and attempted to catch some fish. I don't know if they've had much success. And then 2, Doc Rivers was joking yesterday that he was going to turn in LeBron and Pop on the snitch hotline. Just what do you make of the snitch hotline that's out there?
Well, first question, I have been fishing and I've, you know, on an off day, I've gotten out and gone for a couple of hours, and it's pretty fun. I mean, I grew up, before I moved to the city, I was a country boy at heart, and that's what I did. And so I've had a chance to go out back and fish behind the hotel, and I've had a blast. I've caught a few bass back there, and it's cool to talk to the people who fish back there and figure out what they use as bait. And I love using artificial bait to catch largemouth bass. And so I've had a good time just taking a break from watching film and meetings and that kind of thing to get out there and fish a little bit. So I love it, and I've been blessed to do it. As far as that phone, that line, I really don't have anything to say about that. I think the guys are trying their best to be responsible. There may be some slippage as far as distancing is concerned or guys not wearing a mask, but I think all of the players are trying their best to adhere to all of the policies. You know, I don't even think about it, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm of the idea that we're all grown men and we all want to do what's right. It may not be perfect, but I think everybody's trying. And if I was going to call on somebody, I'd call on Doc just to get him out of here. Send
Okay,
that
final.
to the Clippers.
All right, final question for you, Monty, comes from Andrew Lopez, ESPN. Go ahead with your question, Andrew.
How you doing, Coach? Quick one. Just how do you balance with the obviously with the scrimmage games and preseason and the seeding games starting? How do you balance trying to ramp up and get these guys ready to play while also balancing off days and trying to make sure that they everybody's healthy when it comes time to play?
To be honest with you, I have to pull our guys back. I have a schedule set up every day, and I've had 2 or 3 practices where I had to cut a drill short or cut a drill out because our guys go hard. I mean, we compete. That's who we are. And so I listen to our sports science. They send me a graph every 3 or 4 days as to where we are from a load standpoint. And I look at that and I try to, manage according to what I'm reading. And then I listen to the guys. I'll go around the gym and ask them to be straight with me about their soreness. If I feel like guys are at a soreness level of 7, 8, 9, I don't want that. And so I may pull it back a little bit. And so I think we're all trying to find the sweet spot as it relates to conditioning, because we've never been in this environment before. And so I just listen. I use a bit of my gut, but I'm also aware that guys have to get to certain thresholds of conditioning before they can get into game shape. You have to reach that point of failure to get into the type of shape that NBA guys are accustomed to. So there's a lot of balls I'm juggling, and a lot of information that I'm taking in to try to get to that place.
Thank you, Monty, for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Up next will be Deandre Ayton. If you have questions, go ahead and get ready to raise your hand for Deandre. Hi, Cheick.
What's going on?
Audible. We've got Cheick up first.
Man, we're live here.
Yes, we are.
What's going on?
All right, you ready?
I'm ready, man. Been ready.
Okay. First question comes from Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. He'll be followed by Tressa Tudrick, Channel 3, Channel 5. Dwayne, go ahead.
Thanks, DC. Mr. Diallo, wanted to ask you real quick, what's it been like living in the bubble?
Man, it feels different, It feels so different here, It's kind of like everybody stay together now. So it's feel good to be here, We finally got a chance to play. So I'm so excited about it.
Okay, next question comes from Tressa Tudrick with Channel 3, Channel 5. After her will be Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports. Tressa?
Hi, thank you for your time. Quick one. Coach talked about fishing in his free time. I'm curious what you've been doing when you haven't been focusing on basketball.
Honestly, I just stay in my room, man. I'm not trying to do too much. I'm trying to focus, while we're here. I'm not trying to do too much. Just come to practice, work hard every day, and just go back to my room, go eat, back to my room. I'm trying to stay focused. We got a game and the playoff. So our main goal to focus and play and win all A game and go to playoff. That's our focus here.
Okay, Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports. You're next. Gina Mizell will follow. Go ahead, Kellen.
Hey, Cheick, good to see you. It's been a little over a week now with you guys practicing. Are you guys starting to get a little bit antsy now to get to games and competing against other teams and not just yourselves?
I mean, we're ready, We've been here, like you said, since last week. We've been up and down a little bit, Everybody feel good about it. So especially me, I need to be in the top 10 shape. So I feel like I'm ready to go. Everybody looking really, really good.
Gina Mizell is next, and she will be followed by Dwayne Rankin with another question for the Arizona Republic. Go ahead, Gina.
Hey, Cheick, just wanted to ask, how did you spend your time in quarantine, or just the 4-month hiatus? What'd you work on as far as your game? How'd you get those workouts in? Just sort of what did you do to prepare yourself to be ready to play in Orlando?
It was hard, beginning of the quarantine, like you say, I was in my room every day, my living room. I just got a new bike, so I was doing it every day, trying to stay in shape, and I do a lot of ball handling in my living room. It was really hard for me, because I'm just like one of those guys, I don't like to take a day off. So I was really, really struggling with my plays. And finally, we got a arena open, so I was so excited. I just go every day, I go twice a day, because I'm trying to get something done. I work my jump shot, my face stop, my pass. So I work on a little bit of everything,
Dwayne Rankin, you have the floor for a follow-up question, and then will be Scott Davis, Business Insider. Go ahead.
Thanks, DC. Cheick, I saw some video of Deandre, you and him going at each other in practice. What's that been like? And it looks like Deandre maybe has some moves we haven't seen yet.
I mean, we've been working a lot hard, Even today we play one-on-one again, We just go out every time, all of four big, me and Frank, Dario, and DA. So we just go out every time, because, it's young big, I'm young big too. So we both got a long way to go. But I feel like it's getting so much better, because one-on-one you see, it was a lot, but, Vero need to making sure, everything look good, But I'm not tripping about it, and it's just something is really good, because it's a DA. So it's getting so much better, got a lot of potential.
Scott Davis, Business Insider. You have the next question, followed by Tressa Tudrick, Channel 3, Channel 5. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, I was just wondering, in this stretch before you guys get to do scrimmages and then the real games, I was wondering if right now this will be kind of the hardest part of living in the bubble where, you have practice, but you're not yet having to prepare for games and you have a lot of free time, maybe more than you will once you really start playing. I was just curious for your thoughts on that.
You say we don't have a lot of free time here, because we hit practice like probably 3 hours like every day. So it's just something we don't really have a lot of free time. You just need to get how you can fade, you know what I mean? Because we got scrimmage next week, and we got 3 scrimmage, and after we play a real game, I feel like we're ready to go, There's not a lot of free time here. Whatever you're doing now, you need to stay ready, because you don't know when it's gonna happen. So next week, start next week. After next week, we start a real. So everything is gonna be real soon.
All right, Cheick, thank you for your time. That concludes questions for him today.
Hello. Got EA here.
All right, good morning, sir. We're going to get right into questions. Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports, you're first. Tressa Tudrick, Channel 3, Channel 5, you will follow. Kellen?
Hey, Deandre, it's been a little over a week now with you guys practicing in there. I'm sure you guys are starting to get antsy a little bit to compete against other teams. How much are you looking forward to scrimmages and just getting into the real deal?
I don't know. I'm waiting for everybody in this team to, get back to our old ways. So we got some time before we start scrimmaging. We are very excited. NBA is doing a great job keeping us safe, making sure we just focus on basketball. And the team is finally, showing some great signs of our old ways. And yeah, we just can't ready to compete. Can't get ready to compete yet.
All right, Tressa Tudrick, Channel 3, Channel 5, you have the floor. Dwayne Rankin, you are next.
Hey, Deandre, thanks for your time. Monty talked about going fishing on his free days behind the hotel. I'm curious what you've been doing when you're not focusing on basketball.
2K, playing the video game 24/7. Any free time I get, staying inside like I was back in college.
All right, Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic, you're next. Cameron Cox, Channel 12 is on deck. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Hey, DC. Mr. Ayton caught some video of you putting some moves on, little baseline, off the dribble. How much of that could we see in these scrimmages and games? I mean, this has probably been a part of your game to begin with, but how much more could we see of that of you?
Whatever it takes to get a basket. That's just my style of play. Whatever it takes to get a basket, you'll probably see those type of moves.
All right, Cameron Cox, Channel 12, you're up next. Gina Mizell will follow.
Deandre, hope everything is going well, buddy. Hey, Monty was talking about that he has to kind of pull back the reins from you guys a little bit, that you guys just want to go, 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 and he just has to kind of slow things down at times. Have you noticed that on the court, that you guys are like, hey, I want more, coach, and he's got to be like, one day at a time?
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, we do be trying to rush him to, just like, all right, tell us already. Like, come on, let's go. We are pretty antsy just to play. Our legs are really fresh. We've been working a lot over the quarantine, so a lot of guys have new bodies, new play styles, and it's just fun to see everybody upgraded, everybody level up, and we just got to put things together. So coach is a big leader when it comes to slowing things down and keeping us poised.
Gina Mizell, you have the next question. Dave King, Bright Side of the Sun, will follow. Go ahead, Gina.
Hey, Deandre, just to follow up on that, some of those new moves or new bodies or from your teammates, like who maybe has impressed you or who's done something that you're like, oh, you weren't doing that back in March, or oh, you've added that to your game?
Yeah, definitely. Cam Johnson got very strong and he got buff out of nowhere. He put a lot of muscle on over the quarantine, and Dario as well put a lot of muscle on. So all those dudes' play styles are different, where every move they do is really strong. So, I'm saying, if you were left behind, you need to catch up.
Okay, Dave King, Bright Side of the Sun, go ahead with your question. Cameron Cox, you're next.
Hey, DA. This past season, you learned a lot from Aaron Baines as the guy in the rotation with you at center is on playing defense and boxing out and things like that. And then you said you've grown a lot this past year. What kind of things are you still learning from Aaron Baines on a daily basis?
Shooting the three, knowing when to shoot the three. Spacing. Aaron knows a lot about spacing. His IQ is pretty high on where he wants his shots and how to get them shots, or those type of shots. He tries to find the holes in the defense where he finds the best shot for himself. He knows he can get down and roll to the basket every time, but it's also being a threat behind the line. He definitely knows how to get his open shots and get his looks where his teammates can find him. So that's what I have to really study about him, knowing the game.
All right, DA, your final question comes from Cameron Cox, Channel 12. Go ahead with the question.
Hey, DA, before you left, you talked about the three ball. You called it a midi shot for you now. Just curious, have you busted that out in practice yet? What are your teammates saying about it?
What are you saying? Of course. They still kind of shocked that I pull it every time, but hey, a bucket is a bucket.
All right, sir. Thank you for your time today.
Oh, so you guys mask up, eh?